So now we will touch about sales and marketing, one of the most critical pieces in general in a company and a startup, just because, again, sales, if you keep doing sales, it will cure any kind of problem. And I'm saying this in a good way, not like somebody else told me, like, yeah, many unicorns, they do sales. One thing is fake sales, meaning that you're buying the customers with the money that VC gives you. And a different thing is when you're selling a product or you're selling a service and you make mistakes, because during that journey, you will make a lot of mistakes. We have horrible mistakes, but we learn from them. We lose money, we lose clients, we lose projects, but we face them. And of course, because we had more sales, we were able to keep scaling. In one occasion, even we were selling really good, but 2 clients, they went bankruptcy. We lose all the profit that year, but because we had more sales, it didn't affect the company. We were very transparent with everybody, but we didn't have any issue in general. So even in my head, or in my case, I understood sales, but marketing, it was really bad. Even today, I think it's bad in general, but sales is good. But we'll talk about that later. But the first thing that I want to address is that if you are the founder, again, you need to be the one selling the service, one way or the other. Unless you have a co-founder who's really great at sales, and that's perfect, and that's your Steve Jobs and you're the Wozniak, perfect. But not many people will do that. So you need to understand how to sell your product, how to sell your customers, how to make sure that they understand the value. And I'm talking about value, not price, because many people confuse that. Like, oh yeah, the price is cheap. I don't care about the price. People do not buy by price, but they buy the value that you can provide them. And that value could be savings, could be more revenue, could be less headaches. I don't know, but that's something that you need to figure out. But that's kind of like what you're selling. And that goes to like, if you're not the one selling, make sure that you do either parallel world or whatever you do, but you try to do it. At least try. Trust me, in my case, I was very bad at that, and then eventually I learned the hard way. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now, that takes me to the next thing, that many people will like to create a sales team, and this goes to everybody wants that team that people will sell for you. At the beginning, that's a crazy idea, in my opinion. Again, disclaimer, because trust me, until you reach probably a couple of millions or something decent growth, you will be continue doing that and thinking that people might do the sales for you. Whatever is a product or a service, it's really hard to do. You might have a team that will support you in the sales effort. What this means, they will do account management, they will do customer service, they will do upselling, cross-selling. Yeah, totally, because you cannot do everything. Or they even can help you to create contracts, because that sometimes is really hard. That's fine. But the people who will be bringing leads, it's you, the founder, or the founders. So just remember that the more leads you have, the better conversion you might have. That's something that you need to have in your head. Why? Because if you're thinking that you can build a team, you will spend money, and that will be a waste of resources. Now, it takes me to the way of how you reach customers. In the same way that we talk about B2B and B2C is how you reach people. Why? Because you have 2 ways in general, again, in my opinion, that works: outbound and inbound. Outbound is you go and chase them. Inbound, they chase you. Of course, inbound, it's better than outbound, because when somebody reach out to you, at least 50% of the race is done. Why? Because they know what you do. At least I'm assuming that they know what you do. That's why they reach out to you. And then you complete the process. If you're chasing clients, it's more doors that you need to knock in order to get a customer. It's not bad. You can combine both. You can do both. But you need to understand both of them. Why? Because B2C or services, you can apply both. The more brand awareness you create, the more people will reach out to you. That doesn't mean that you will stop there and just wait that people knock at your door, or you just pay for the marketing. You need to go and also chase them, because there's people that they don't know you, but they might benefit from your service or products. So that's kind of like the strategies that you need to understand in order to be a successful founder. Otherwise, you will just be doing guerrilla marketing, which is just spamming everybody, sending the same message to everybody, and that's not the idea. Just have that in mind. Outbound, you chase them. Inbound, they chase you. Great. People might say, hey, Kenneth, but inbound might take longer time. Yes, because of course, it's a matter of creating content, be there, be present, create an awareness. And of course, that takes time. But if you don't start today, it might take you longer. It's not something that will be like from one day to another. Unless you do something critical and people start retweeting and everything, that might happen, but it's not the case always. On the other hand, outbound, you can start from day one. That's why I mentioned you need to mix both. You need to understand both and how they work. Outbound might be really cheap. Why? Because you just want to buy an email list and you will spam. Or it could be that you will go on LinkedIn and you buy Sales Navigator and you start like understanding who might be your target. Everything is a technique. We can create different courses for outbound and inbound, but in general, it's up to you. First of all, I recommend that you start creating content, videos, marketing material, just in case, because people will reach out to you, either whatever is a product or a service, and that will give you some kind of brand awareness. In their case, if you're doing outbound, do not spam people, because that will affect your your domain and you won't get in trouble. Try to do the other way around. My way or my recommendation or my opinion is like more than a lot of people try to narrow in like, if you're going through LinkedIn, great. Who are you talking? Who is your ICP? What could be the best messaging for them? What this means, I see a lot of people or a lot of entrepreneurs that they try to send the same message to everybody, even with AI, that they customize a little bit. It's not the same. I prefer to do it by hand. I mean, meaning like me writing the email or customize it to each individual. Why? Because they will feel that there is a connection in a way. That's how I built Tectum. When I started, I didn't have any connections in general in the IT world. So I was writing messages that they were suited to not only say that, hey, we want to work with you. It's kind of like, we really want to understand if we can help you or how we can help each other. And this could be as simple at the early stages, like, hey, I have a solution for you, but I will love your feedback. And if that feedback works, great, thank you. If not, or if that product works or service works, great. If not, I will just take it. But that's kind of like the messaging, and the better conversion, the better return. So if you just go into the messaging, the better the message, the meaning that you understand what are their pains, the better. And this goes again to a topic. It's not the same talking to a CFO, a CEO, or a CTO. Why? Because if your message is the same, it won't resonate to the three of them. Because if you're talking to a CFO, most likely they want savings. They want efficiencies. If you're talking to the CEO, they want more strategy, how they can grow, or if this product or service will allow them to scale. If you're talking to the CTO, probably that guy, the only thing that he wants is less headache. So each message needs to be tailored to whoever you're talking to. That's for me a good outbound. And then you start reaching out. That's kind of like the universe of like basics that you need to understand in order to start getting customers. And of course, the moment you have a customer, how do you negotiate and everything will depend from product or services, but try to get references or referrals, because there's a lot of people that they know more people. So try to leverage that. That will help you.